in this video, we're going to show you how to shave down a giant breed of dog like this, be it a St. Bernard or Great Pyrenees. We're going to show you how to shave them down, make it nice and smooth and even, and how to properly blend the head and the tail. So let's get started. This is Molly, and she actually looks fantastic shaved. She has a nice coat, but she looks really nice shaved also. I've already trimmed her nails. The first thing I'm going to do is shave out the pads of her feet with my 30 blade. Good girl, Mom. See all that hair in there? And the better we shave out the pads, the more traction she'll get, so she won't be slipping on all that hair. So that's one of the reasons that we do that, and to keep them from growing hair in there and getting an infection if the hair gets matted against their skin. So that's why we typically shave out the pads. Okay, once we get our pads shaved out, we're going to replace our 30 blade with a 10 blade. And we're just going to shave this little area right here, just to keep them, it's called a sanitary trim, just to keep them nice and neat in there. And you can see I've kind of cleared that away a little bit. We're not going to use a 10 blade to shave her whole body. We're only going to use that for her little private area here, just to get that hair super, super short. And for Molly's shave today, we're going to start with a 5 blade. Typically with a shave down, you either use a number 5 blade or a number 7 blade, because they're super short, but they're not so short as a 10 blade. So there will still be a little bit of hair, and it'll lay nice and flat and smooth. So we're going to start off with a 5 blade, and we're going to see what it looks like. Good girl. I'm going to start right at the base of her skull. So I'm going to take this off for just a minute. Good girl. Hold on to her. Good girl. And I'm just going to start here, and I'm just going to get all of this hair off around her neck so I can put the noose back on. I'm going to leave all this for now, because at the end, when we're done shaving her completely, we're going to blend her head. Start here. There you go. Now hold her ear up. And I'm really just going with the grain of the hair right now. Good girl. I'm going to kind of hold it taut. You can see she's got some loose skin here on her neck, so I want to kind of hold it taut a little bit. Make sure that we don't get the blade caught in her skin. All right, girl. Good girl. Good girl. Very good girl. Okay, I'm going to slip her noose back on. You can see she has nice markings, so she looks really good shaved. I'm just going to continue to go down with the grain of the hair. against the grain of the hair, and then go down again with the grain of the hair. And that repetition really just helps you get a smoother look. Brushing against the grain, putting down with the grain, this extra hair. You can see as I'm shaving, I'm starting to get some lines in here. The more I brush and the more I go over it, those will just sort of disappear. Good girl, Molly. And as you can see, Molly's sitting right now, so I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity to do some of this up here, because she'll need to stand up again, but especially with these large dogs that take a little while to groom. I like to let them kind of sit when they need to sit, and then I'll stand them back up. So I just work on the parts that's easily accessible and just kind of give them a chance to sit down. I'm just going to continue to brush up and shave down. Smooth it out. Shaving a giant dog is sort of a process. It does take a little while, so just have to be patient. With the paw, just on her stomach here. Down our legs. Good girl. Good girl. Now I'm going to have her stand back up for a minute so I can work my way back here. Good girl, Molly. Move around onto her stomach here. Molly actually has big nipples. You have to be careful with some female dogs. She was a rescue dog, so I'm sure she had a litter of puppies at some point. So we just want to be really careful not to cut her. So we want to be aware of where all of her extra skin and everything is. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually, you can see how loose her skin is. I'm actually gonna pull it up a little bit so it's tight. Use my clippers, curve around. Good girl. And I can, of course, feel where her skin is, so I know where her skin is at all times. Pull that on and just across. And once I have that area cleared out enough, I'm going to put my strap back on so she doesn't walk off the table. Your grandma, and you can see you're starting to get a smooth, even shave. Again, it's just repetition. Just want to go over it and over it and over it. Turn around her rear end. And we're just gonna shave to here on her tail, and then we're just gonna leave this when we're done shaving her completely. Then we're gonna go back and blend the tail. Now to get the inside of the leg, the hair on the inside of the leg, what I like to do is lift up the other leg. And then it kind of makes them have to stand on that leg for support. And of course you can't do this with a dog who has real bad hips, because they won't be able to support themselves. But it is easier to get in there if they have good hips and they're strong enough to stand up for a minute. And one leg, just lift that up. Kind of clip that down. Do the same thing on this leg. And again, we're just going to leave the tail for now. We'll get that in the end. You can see that this looks a little smoother than this does back here. So we're just going to go over it until it's smooth. Smooth it out. I'm going to go ahead and take my blade down the back of her leg here. I'm going to turn it around and go against the grain. catch all that extra hair, so we're going to go against the grain, just on the back of our hocks there. And with the grain. Good girl. Okay, we're going to try to turn Molly around so you can see again when I shave the other side. Turn her head. I'm going to hold her skin. Good girl. Good girl. I'm going to pull the skin taut, like I did on the other side, and just watch where her skin is, and curve it around her stomach. Ready for summer. Girl. Good girl. And the more they move around, the more you can kind of see if there's hair sticking up and whatnot. So it's always good to double check, you know, the areas that you've already groomed, just go over them and over them. Make sure you get all the hair you might miss the first time. Good girl. I'm going to take this strap off and do this area, and I'm going to let her sit for a few minutes. You can see she's got some skin right here, extra skin. So I'm just going to make sure that I'm aware of where that skin is because I don't want to catch it in my blade. And their skin is really stretchy. Some dogs have tighter skin, but most of the time you can actually pull it, especially cutting along bone lines like this. Now with the 5-blade, it is pretty hard to cut them. But if you were doing a shorter blade, you can see instead of cutting along the bone, if you're uncomfortable doing that, you can actually roll the skin out and sort of, you know, have a flatter surface to work on. But you can see I'm always feeling so I know where the skin is, where the bones are, just to make sure that I don't cut her. Especially in the back here. Now with the 5 blade again, it's harder to cut them, but if I were doing a 7 blade or something, it's a little shorter. A lot of times it's very easy to cut them in the back of their leg right here. So you can always just roll the skin out. Okay. So we're going to use our scissors and kind of neaten up a little bit of this. Our thinning shears. Now, a lot of times some of these like wispy hairs your clippers won't catch. You can do 2 things. You can kind of thinning shear and scissor, or we could just take our 10 blade and shave that out a little bit further. Just going to catch some of that fuzzy hair there. You want to be really careful with the 10 blade. The 10 blade, you can catch their skin, so you just want to be super careful. Take my scissors and sort of neaten this a little bit here. And of course, I'm always making sure that I know where the skin is. Especially with a dog like this, it has loose skin. Just kind of neaten it a little bit. And again, it is a little bit harder with a dog like Molly, who's had puppies and has this extra skin and the nipples and everything, but just get it the best we can. And so this hair on the elbows here, we can use our thinning shears to get a little better. So that sticks out. I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. Switch back to my 5 blade. And I'm going to cut all this hair off the back of her hocks here with my blade backwards. Now, if you like that fringe, you can leave it. You can just kind of trim it up. If you want to take it all the way off, you can take it off. You want to be careful because she has dew claws. Some dogs are supposed to have dew claws. Some of them have them removed when they're puppies. So you just want to be aware if your dog has these dew claws still, you want to be careful that you don't cut them. Set that up. I'm just going to take my 5 blade and cut it all off. I'm just going to avoid her dew claws. I'm going to scissor that part. Grab my scissors, got my curved scissors. Pick up her paw. I'm going to brush down. Scissor anything sticking up on the bottom. So get a better view here. Brush that up. scissors, pull that extra hair out between her toes. And I'm just going to scissor that off. I'm going to set it back down, kind of get an idea of what it looks like. And if there's anything extra sticking up, just trim that. Pull it down between her toes. Oops. You can see a little extra sticking up there. Just going to scissor it. And I'm just going to carefully scissor the extra hair around the dew claws. We can get a look at our scissor paw and our unscissored paw. You kind of see the difference. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and scissor this paw. Put the paw down. I like to put the paw down a lot when I'm trimming, just so I can get an idea of what the hair is going to look like when the dog is actually standing in their natural position. You can see this dew claw here. Just going to trim that a little bit. Just doing a lot of back and forth, a lot of picking it up and setting it down. One, for her comfort, and two, just to make sure that I can get the hair at different angles. Good girl. Pull it down between the toes, make sure I get that extra. Looks like I got it all. There we go. We have nice, neat, scissored back feet. Around our front feet. Now, in shaving large dogs, most of the time I just like to take the blade all the way down their legs and shave all that too. If you want, you can keep some fringe. Again, you would just have to scissor it. You would stop your shaving there and blend it and scissor. But I like a more uniform look of shaving the legs down. So I'll try to tilt her a little bit so you can get a better view of. You can see all this extra hair here, back of her hop. I'm just going to use my scissors to cut that off. You can use your stuffed animals or just anything fuzzy and fluffy and sort of round to practice your scissoring. I love using stuffed animals. I think it's a really good idea. I'm kind of getting an idea of what it's going to look like with her standing. Paw up, which she doesn't like too well. We're going to scissor that. It's okay, girl. Scissor all that away from her pad. Make sure she gets good traction. So kind of, she'll hold still. You can kind of get an idea of what we're doing here. And then pull between her toes. It's okay, girl. Just scissor across. And I'm going to repeat the same thing on this paw. Just push it down along the edge. Just kind of make it as neat as you can. now we're gonna go tail here. I'm gonna go over this again, neaten this up a little more. I'm gonna use it backwards, kind of catch some of that extra hair there on the inside of the leg. Flip it around, smooth it out. Now we're going to do a comb attachment on her tail, so we're going to leave some fluff on the tail. I don't recommend shaving the tails because a lot of dogs, especially very happy dogs that shake their tails a lot, wag their tails, they can hit things and they actually will split open and bleed. So that sometimes when dogs' tails are shaved, that really does happen, so we like to leave a little bit of a buffer. Now if you like a long tail, you can just blend this and you can leave the tail long, and some people like that, looks cute. Or you can just trim it down or take it all off with the comb guard. So first I'm going to show you how to blend this, and then we're going to take it down with the comb guard. So you can see we have like this little ridge here. What we're going to do is, we used a 5-blade to shave her body. We're going to put our 30 blade on. And we're going to use a short comb guard. This is a 1 comb, it's pretty short. And we're going to use that to blend that in. I'm just going to use light strokes. Lots of brushing up. Good girl. As you can see, it looks much better, much more blended. You can also do that with scissors, but it's much easier just to use your comb guard. Just go over it until it looks as smooth and as even as you want it to. See, it's blending quite nicely. And tail up. We're going to scissor it underneath there. You can use clippers underneath their tail or on the rear end. I don't like to personally, but if you want to clip, you can use clippers. I just like to use my scissors, hold them this way. Just trim that hair. Tail. And then flip them around and kind of trim that, blend it a little better. And you can kind of just, let it like how it naturally would. Go through there. Neaten it up. See that would, you can see how it's blending much better, and again the length is really your preference, however you want it to be. And I'm going to use my undercoat rake to make sure that her hair is all got all the extra dead hair out, make it easier to clip. Girl. And we could just leave her tail like that and, neaten a little better. A long tail. So that's one option. But we're going to take a long comb guard on it. So I'm going to put my 30 blade back on. Let's see here. And I'm going to use an egg comb. And I'm not going to push all the way down. I'm going to feel and make sure I know where her actual tail is. She has a very long tail. Her tail actually comes all the way down to here. So I'm going to be very careful, and I'm not going to go down real hard. I'm just going to go lightly. Kind of at an angle over the whole tail. of taking some of the bulk off of that. Shaping it, so it's gonna be more like a little squirrel tail almost. So it'll be like more like that instead of the long fluff. I'm just doing this with a real light hand. You're being a good girl, Molly. Give you an idea what it's looking like. Now, Molly typically carries her tail up, so. And over to my comb, kind of see how the hair is looking. So I'm going to go back over where my little ridge was, which is pretty much gone now. Just scissor any extra. And help blend it. So it looks more natural. It looks like, even though we have an obviously shaved dog, it's got a nice blended line here. Good girl, Molly. I'm gonna brush all this down. I'm gonna feel where her actual tail is, and then I'm just gonna cut off the extra hair on the end there. And then just use my scissors to continue to shape it. Brush down. If you let the comb attachment do most of the work, then it's easier to do your finished scissoring. There. You can see that extra sticking out there. What it's looking like. Nice and fluffy and round. Again, just personal preference as far as how short you want to make that. Girl. Okay, we're going to blend our ears and our head. It's going to be our last part. A comb with a 30 blade underneath, and you can see back here where she's shaved and then she's got all this sticking up. What we're going to blend that over her crown is to use a comb attachment backwards. We're going to take off that ridge. Now your goal, and the more you groom, the more you'll get familiar and comfortable doing this, but basically you want your comb guard to kind of blend in with this hair here, because this is actually longer than her body. We want it to have a nice smooth finish, so you just want to kind of guess, start with the longer comb, and go a little shorter and a little shorter until it seems like it's all blending with this. all the way down to the front of her head there. And you can see it's really starting to blend. Use that same comb guard, or even a shorter one, to go over her ears. You can see her really starting to get rid of that ridge. So it looks a little more natural. Good girl. I'm going to switch to a shorter one. Go down to a half comb. And I'm going to go with the grain of her hair on her ears just to get rid of this extra fuzz. And then I'm going to hold her ear open. You can see all this extra hair in here. I'm going to take my comb guard. I'm just going to cut that off. A little tiny mat back there, so I'll have to get that out. And then I'm going to use a little shorter one there a little bit too. Just kind of, whatever feels like it's blending it well. Again, a lot of the key is just repetition. Blend and blend. Got a pretty good blend there. Get that little tiny mat out. That little tiny mat, I'm going to use my thinning shears. I don't want to use scissors in the back of her ears ever because it's just not safe. I'm going to feel where that, you can see it's just a tiny little mat. I'm going to feel where that is. Put my hands where her skin is. And I'm just going to thinning shear. Thinning shear that out. And then I can use my thinning shears to kind of shape that extra hair there. Make it a little neater. You can see here she does have some calyx, but you can see that it's actually pretty well blended. You can, if you have this extra little tiny bit of fuzz there, you can use your thinning shears, just shape it a little bit, get rid of that. Just make it as neat as you want. I'm going to take this off for a second so you can get a good view of her head and how it's all blended. Good girl. Good girl. You can see the neck, just kind of blended that. You can go over it a little bit if you want, make it a little neater. Right backwards a little bit to blend. And just go over it until it flows. So it kind of flows all together. Looks real natural. And I think she's done. You're ready to go. Good girl. So there you have it. Giant breed shave. The end.